going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope you're all doing well. Let's talk about some hockey scores. We're opening with some hockey. Lightning over the Canadiens, 5-3. Lightning at 6-3. 6-3-4 on the year. Hurricanes over the Sabres, 3-2 in overtime. You had the Wild over the Islanders, 4-2. Rangers over the Red Wings, 5-3. Rangers were up 5-0 through 2 period. Red Wings got 3 in the third, but it was to no avail. So Rangers pick up a win. Rangers look really good. They are 9-2-1 on the season. They're playing really, really well. Look great offensively. Igor has looked as advertised. Jonathan Quick, I was worried about their backup goalie because he looked pretty much washed last year between the Kings and whoever else he played. I know he was on Columbus for like a day and then he got flipped. But he's been pretty solid. It hasn't been, no one's expecting him to be Igor Shesterkin. He's way past his prime. He's pushing 40 years old. But he's been a pretty serviceable goalie. He's been a very solid backup for the Rangers. He had 2 goals from Vincent Trocheck, a goal and assist from Artemi Panarin. Winnipeg Jets over the Blues, 5-2. You had the Flames over the Predators, 4-2. Those 2 teams are kind of struggling. Calgary only at 4-7-1 this year. Nashville at 5-7. Nashville made some moves in the offseason, of course, brought in a new regime with Barry Trotz, longtime coach. For Nashville, also, of course, he won Stanley Cup with Washington, was most recently with the Islanders. He's now their GM. Of course, they made a coaching change. You had Arizona over Seattle, 4-3 in a shootout. You had Colorado over the Devils, 6-3. Colorado looks good. They're 8-3. Devils are 7-4-1, looks solid. Missing Jack Hughes right now, which definitely is going to hurt. Penguins shut out the Ducks 2-0. Penguins are at 5-6 right now. Ducks are at 7-5, so not bad for the Ducks considering how young that team is. And then you have the Sharks. The Sharks have won a hockey game. The San Jose Sharks have won a hockey game. They were 0-10-1 coming in after 11 straight games without a win to start the year. They beat the Flyers 2-1. They are 1-10-1 on the year. 1-10-1, wow. Mackenzie Black with 38 saves in that one. 1-10-1, wow. Took them 12 games to get a win. Wow. They have 3 points through 12 games. That's not good. All right, we got some news for college football. So Deion Sanders said that Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh Sanders are going to declare for the draft next year together. So it looks like, according to Deion, that Shedeur Sanders will not be an option for teams in the draft this year. And Shiloh is his brother, who's the defensive back as well. So things could change. Maybe Shedeur says, "I'm sorry, Dad, but this is what I want to do," and he does it. But it is also Deion Sanders. Kind of hard not to listen to Deion Sanders. So we'll see what happens with that, but that's what Deion's saying. Want to talk about some brief news, a couple of things before we're going to do a little standings update for the NFL. We're going to talk some college football, and then we'll do our game picks for both the NFL and for college football. The Oilers have waived goalie Jack Campbell. He signed a 5-year contract of $25 million last year. He was just waived. He had a really strong year in Toronto a couple of years ago. But, he wasn't great last year in Edmonton. He has not been good this year. Stuart Skinner's clearly a better goalie there at Edmonton. He was just waived. So, that's a big move. We got Kansas. Kansas basketball just extended Bill Self. Of course, he got some sort of lifetime contract a few years ago. He's got a bit of a contract update. 5-year, $53 million extension makes him the highest paid coach in college basketball. For the longest time, it had been John Calipari at Kentucky, who makes $8.5 million a year, and now Self clears him. He was making a little over $10 million a year, close to 11. Bill Self's one of the greatest coaches of all time. He's been there a very long time. Won I think 7 or 8 Big 12 conference championships. He's won 2 national championships. He's one of the greatest coaches in college basketball history. He gets a big extension. The Mets announced they are not going to hire a GM this offseason to serve underneath David Stern. Stern says the Mets already have enough going on this offseason. He's right. Need to basically completely revamp their pitching staff and probably need another bat or 2. Still looking for, and of course they just found that they brought in a new manager and Yankees bench with Carlos Mendoza. So, I see where he's coming from. Stearns. To be honest, I'd rather have one guy run the whole show. If you can even make it work, the Philadelphia Phillies have Sam Foles, your GM, and your president of baseball operations of Dave Dombrowski. That's obviously worked very well. The team that they've put out recently, but it's all about the people you have. Which way it works, having one guy be GM and president or having a GM and a president. If the for example, like the Phillies have a GM and a president, you have Sam Folds, is a recently retired player as your GM, and then you have obviously very accomplished president of baseball operations in Nebraska, who's much older. He's been a Elme executive for a long time. He was in there. I think he was with the Marlins, and they were still in Florida. He was in Boston. He was been around the block. But also, and then you look, in speaking of the Boston Red Sox, they had Shane Bloom as the main guy. Obviously, that didn't work out. Right, everybody out of town. But you look at the Oakland A's. They had for a while it was just Billy Beane. That worked out. So it depends. It depends on people that you have in the building. The Rams have signed Carson Wentz. Of course, Matthew Stafford did not play this past week, and Brett Rippon started in his place. He did not look good, so Wentz might be their number 2 quarterback. He started last year for Washington, struggled out of the gate. Then he was benched for Taylor Heineke. Then they replaced him at the end of he came back in like the very end of the year. In week 17, he very oddly put Wentz back in there. Didn't work out. And of course, week 18, they were already eliminated. They gave Sam Howell a look. Of course, from our second overall pick was an MVP. Probably would have won an MVP if he was healthy in 2017. Ever since then, just gotten worse and worse and worse. Had like a decent year or two in Philly. Then his last year in Philly, he fell off and he's bounced around with the Colts. Was okay, but when it mattered most, struggled and close from the playoff spot. He was horrible last year in Washington. He's not a starting quarterback anymore, but probably is a good backup. The Cincinnati Reds are getting calls on Jonathan India, the young second baseman. A couple years ago was rookie of the year. Last couple years had some injury, but still has been very good. Now for all the young talent they got, if Albert De La Cruz and Matt McClain, he could be expendable, but Reds apparently value him very highly, so it doesn't look like they're looking to trade him. And the House Timer announced that Aaron Boone will return as manager. Apparently, he said several people told him that he should come back. I don't get it. I don't know what his leanings with this regime. It's not going to work out. The Yankees will never win a World Series with Aaron Boone as their manager and with Brian Cashman as the GM. It's just not going to happen. Look, their team isn't very good. It's more on Cashman than Boone, but I don't think Boone's that great of a manager. Cashman is extremely overrated. He's awful. But Boone's not great either. Every year in the first half of the year, things are rolling. He's up for manager of the year. In the second half of the year, they fall apart. They barely make the playoffs, and then they lose in the LCS or LDS. And this past year, they didn't even make the playoffs. Barely even 500. Because in the first half of the year, he overuses his bullpen, pulls stars too early, and in the second half of the year, his whole bullpen gets hurt, and he wonders why, because they're cooked by the All-Star break. I don't know what else you want me to say. And their team just isn't built well. Oh yeah, we got this really short right-hand fence. Let's just not bring in any good left-handed bats. Like, what? I don't get it. I don't get it. All right, let's do a little standings update for the NFL. Okay, first we're going to do the college football playoff rankings. Ohio State remains the top team in the country for college football playoff ranking, the second one of the year. Georgia is at 2. I think Georgia should be ahead of them. Georgia hasn't lost in 2.5 years. I don't know what else do you want them to do. Michigan is at 3. You have Florida State at 4. Washington's at 5. Oregon's at 6. You have Texas at 7. Alabama at 8. You have Ole Miss at 9. Penn State at 10. Louisville 11. The Louisville Cardinals football program is the 11th best team in the country right now. That's crazy. Oregon State is at 12. Tennessee's at 13. Missouri at 14. Oklahoma State shoots up to 15 after their big win over Oklahoma. Kansas is at 16. Wow, Kansas football at 16. That's crazy. Oklahoma at 17. Oklahoma just killed their season, losing to Kansas and Oklahoma State in football. Utah at 18. LSU at 19. Notre Dame at 20. Arizona at 21st. They jump into the rankings. Iowa at 22nd. Thankfully, Brian Ferentz is leaving after the year. Thank God, he's awful. Tulane is at 23. North Carolina's at 24th, so they sneak back into the rankings. At one point, they were like top 10, but then they lost to freaking Virginia and Smart Scrub, which dropped them out of the rankings. And now they're back in the ranking at 24th. And Kansas State is at 25th. So that's the second college football playoff rankings of the season. They come out every Tuesday night, so that's why I'm gonna be doing them probably Wednesday instead of on Monday, because like the AP ranking at this point, you know, aren't as important as the college football playoff rankings, and you know the AP rankings they come out like Sunday afternoon, but the college football playoff ranking they don't get announced till like Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. And I did a show. I record the show in the afternoons, usually. Let's go to the NFL standing. Let's go to the divisional standings first. AFC East, very tight. We got Miami at 6-3, Buffalo at 5-4, Jets at 4-4. Of course, the Patriots at the very bottom at 2-7. Never thought I'd see that. AFC North is very competitive. You have the Ravens at 7-2, who are playing phenomenal. You have the Steelers at 5-3. Somehow they're 5-3 with that god awful offense. Browns at 5-3. They've held their own without Nick Chubb, I will say. And with all the quarterback issues they've had PJ Walker for a good amount of the year as their quarterback. And the Bengals are at 5-3. Bengals have been playing very well lately because of that tough starter technically in last place. AFC South, Jaguars at 6-2. You have the Texans at 4-4, Colts at 4-5, Tennessee at 3-5. So pretty firm grasp there for Jacksonville. You know, Houston's still 2 games out, but Jacksonville's obviously the best team in the division by far. AFC West, you have the Chiefs at 7-2, and then they're running away with that as expected, as they do every year. Chargers are at 4-4, Rays at 4-5, and Broncos at 3-5. NFC East, the Eagles are at 8-1, and they're running away with that. Dallas is at 5-3. You know the issue is there. Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy, nothing else to say. Commanders are at 4-5, and the god-awful Giants team is at 2-7. And Tommy DeVito is now the starting quarterback, so have fun with that. Lions are at 6-2, NFC North. Vikings, though, right there at 5-4. If Josh Dobbs can go out there and play some solid quarterback for them, Vikings got a shot. They're only a game out of that division. You have the Packers at 3-5 and the Bears at 2-7. Both teams are very bad, especially the Bears. NFC South, you have the Saints at 5-4. You have in first place somehow. The Falcons at 4-5. The Bucs at 3-5, and the Panthers at 1-7. Good God, that division is bad. Did that division get worse than last year? Like, did it? Like, I don't know how. I didn't think it was possible. Good God. You have the Saints who've a god-awful coach of Dennis Allen. If they don't win the division, Dennis Allen should be banned from coaching the NFL. Derek Carr's not very good. The rest of our team is just boring as heck. Falcons. Arthur Smith was not using his best player. They don't understand. The Bucs have Baker freaking Mayfield. They're just old. And the Carolina Panthers, good God, they're just awful. Oh, they don't have the first round pick either. So they might have the worst record in football and not have a first round pick. AFC West hit the 49ers and a 5-3. Seahawks also at 5-3. 49ers have a tiebreaker there. That's why they're ahead of Seattle. They have the Rams at 3-6 and the Cardinals at 1-8. So actually Arizona technically has the worst record right now, followed by Carolina. That's the divisional stand. Let's look at the playoff picture right now. Still, we're at about the halfway point of the season. So we still got a little ways to go. AFC, Kansas City right now is the 1 seed. And at 7-2, 2 seed right now is Baltimore. 3 seeds Jacksonville. 4 seeds Miami. The top 3 wildcards are Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. And you have a slew of teams that are right there. Buffalo is a half game out of yeah, Cincinnati's technically tied with Cleveland, but Cleveland's got a tiebreaker. Buffalo is a half game out. And then Houston, the Chargers, the Jets work a game out. And then the Colts and Raiders are right there. And then you have the Titans, Broncos hanging by a cliff. And then the Patriots are just dead in the water. Can I believe the New England Patriots are in last place in the AFC? That's crazy. I love it, but it's just crazy. NFC, you got the Eagles have a firm grasp on that 1 seed. 2 seed is Detroit. That's interesting. Detroit's like very good this year, besides that one game against the Ravens. San Francisco is the 3 seed. New Orleans is the 4 seed. The top 3 wildcards are Seattle, Dallas, and Minnesota. Well, I think I was mistaken because I forgot there were 7 seeds. Cincinnati is the last team in right now, and then Buffalo's a half game out, and then followed by all the teams that I listed. You got in the NFC, Washington is a game out, as is Atlanta. Then you got Tampa and Green Bay kind of hanging by a cliff. You know, Rams hanging by a cliff, and then the Giants, Bears, Carolina, and Arizona are just dead in the water. That's the playoff picture for the NFL. All right, it is game picks time. First, let's talk college football. We have Thursday Night Football for college football. It'll be Virginia against number 11 Louisville. I'm going to take Louisville. They've played really well this year. They're 8-1 this year. Virginia, besides that one crazy win over UNC, they've been awful, as they always are in football, taking Louisville. Then to your Saturday games, number 3 Michigan's number 10 Penn State, a big game. But I'm going to take Michigan. I think Michigan's, like, they always are good enough to win the Big Ten, but not good enough to win the national championship. But, Penn State's very good, but they just can't beat Ohio State and Michigan. I'll take Michigan in that one to remain undefeated. Number 8, Alabama against Kentucky. I'm going to take Alabama. Kentucky's been kind of lately. They dropped out of the rankings. Alabama's still good. Not as great as they usually are, but they're still good. I'll take Alabama. Texas Tech is number 16, Kansas. I'm going to take Kansas. They're playing some good football right now. I'll take Kansas. Tulsa against number 23, Tulane. I'll take Tulane. They've played very well this year. Tulsa is awful. You have number 21, Arizona against Colorado. I'm going to take Arizona. I'll see. I love Shedeur Sanders. The team isn't good. I'm taking Arizona. You have Baylor against number 25, Kansas State. I'm taking Kansas State. Baylor is horrible. Taking K-State. Miami against Florida State. Miami is a shell of itself. I don't know what Mary Cristobal is doing over there. I'm taking FSU. I'm somewhat completely sold on. I love Jordan Travis. He's throwing for over 2,400 yards, 19 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, but I'd probably rather Washington have the last spot in the country play over Florida State right now, but I'll take Florida State now on. Number 18, Utah against number 5, Washington, so a big test for Washington. They passed it against USC. I think they passed against Utah. Michael Panks, to me, is the highest winner right now. He's thrown for over 3,200 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. I'll take Washington. Number 13, Tennessee is number 14, Missouri. This is going to be a really close game. I'm going to take Missouri, actually. Maybe in a slight upset. I'll take Missouri in an upset. Number 15, Oklahoma State against UCF. I'll take OK State. They're playing well right now. It's had to come up with a big win over Oklahoma. They got the momentum. I'll take Oklahoma State. Rutgers against number 22, Iowa. I'm going to take Iowa. It's probably a low-scoring game. Shout out to Rutgers they've been solid here. They're at 6-3. They're bowl eligible for the first time in a while. So shout out to them. Greg Schiano has turned that program around. Iowa, they can't score, but just Rutgers has always been overmatched in the Big Ten. Start to change it a little bit, but I am going to still take Iowa in that one. Number 12, Oregon State against Stanford. I'm taking Oregon State. Stanford's awful. Outside of that crazy coming over Colorado, they've done nothing this year. They're not good. This is a big game. Number 9, Ole Miss against number 2, Georgia. I'm taking Georgia. I don't think anybody beats Georgia. I need someone's got to do it for me to believe it. It's one of those things. Ole Miss is good, but I think Georgia's muscle is just gonna be too much. I'm taking Georgia. West Virginia against number 17, Oklahoma. Oklahoma's been struggling, but I'm taking Oklahoma in this game. West Virginia isn't great. They're not a football school. They're a basketball school. Michigan State is number 1, Ohio State. This game is going to be really ugly. Michigan State is a dumpster fire. Their team is awful. They don't really have a head coach at this point. Got these fans on Twitter. Well, Urban Meyer, I don't know what's going on with that program. Ohio State is favored by 31.5, and I don't blame that line at all. Ohio State by many points. Number 7, Texas against TCU. Definitely take them a Longhorns. This TCU team is not the team it was last year. That was in the national championship. I'll take Texas. Florida, number 19, LSU. I'll take LSU. Florida is not very good. Duke against number 24, UNC. I'll take UNC. Duke has been solid. Mike Elko's made them an actual legit program football-wise, but I'll take UNC. And USC is number 6, Oregon. I will take Oregon. Caleb Williams is great. He'll be a Heisman finalist. He's thrown for almost 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 4 picks. I do think he's being overhyped a little bit. I think he's a great talent. I think he'll be a great player and a great quarterback, but he's also a bit arrogant. And they're comparing him to Mahomes. No, that's ridiculous. Like, I don't think he's like a Mahomes or a Burrow or a Trevor Lawrence. I don't think he's like a generational guy like that. But I still think he's a great quarterback. But people are having him like he's like the Baron of Mahomes. Like, let's give that a break. And their team isn't good. They just fired their defensive coordinator for a reason. Lincoln Riley's overrated. I love Oregon. They have a shot of getting into the top four. I'll take the Oregon Ducks in this one. All right, so that's college football picks. Now let's finish up with the NFL game picks as we go into what I believe is week 10, yes, of the NFL season. Thursday Night Football is the Panthers against the Bears. This is a tank bowl. The Bears have the Panthers pick, so it doesn't really matter what happens. Both these teams are awful. I don't know who I want to pick in this one. I'll pick the Bears. The Bears are going to go in and be like, look, we have their pick. We needed to lose. We get a better pick. Let's go out and beat them. And Carolina's just going to be like, what do you want? If we win, all right, cool. Now our pick just gets even, our pick, gets worse, but we don't even have it. And if we lose, well, it gets better, but we still don't have it. Like, just we're helping the Bears out, if they beat us. So let's try to beat them, I guess. But the Bears, like, if we beat them, our chance of getting the number one pick intensifies and does not look like Justin Fields is the guy. I'll take the Bears in what should be a very bad game. Or we have the Colts and Patriots in Germany. At least this game is not in the United States, because good God, that's not promising. I'm taking the Colts. The Patriots are horrible. Mac's not the guy. The O-line's horrible. Now J.C. Jackson, who might be the best corner right now with Christian Gonzalez out for the year, he's not playing. Apparently, there's some mental issue. He's not being reliable enough, even though he's been pretty solid since coming back over from the Chargers in a trade. I'm taking the Colts in that one. Texans against the Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals now. I love Stroud attacking. The Bengals have found themselves. Burrow is playing like Joe Burrow again. I'm taking the Bengals. Saints, Vikings. I'm actually going to take the Vikings in this one. I like what I saw from Josh Dobbs. He played great. Now he's got a full week of practice under his belt. Gets to learn his teammates' names. Gets to learn the playbook. Saints are very mediocre. Vikings are playing really well. I'm taking Minnesota. Packers, Steelers. That's a pretty mid-game. I'm taking Pittsburgh. That defense is going to eat Jordan Love alive. TJ Watt's going to have a field day against Jordan Love. Should be a low-scoring game, and I'll take Pittsburgh. Titans, Bucks. Good God, it's some of these games. Oof. Yikes. I'll take the Titans in this one. I mean, it's Will Levis against Baker Mayfield. The quarterback play has been very bad. A lot of injuries to these quarterbacks. Will Levis against Baker Mayfield. Who would have thought that would be a quarterback matchup this year? The Titan defense is actually pretty good. This is a very mediocre matchup. Will Levis went out and played very well. His first game against Atlanta was against Pittsburgh. He's been named the starter even when Ryan Tannehill is healthy, which is definitely the right move. I'll take the Titans in a mid-off. We have 49ers Jaguars, so this should be a great game. 49ers Jaguars, a big game. Commanders are neck and neck with Seattle now, NFC West. 49ers, the Jaguars are now one of the best teams in the AFC. I'm going to take the Niners in this one. I know Brock Purdy's been struggling, but, they might get Deebo Samuel back. Not sure. Should be a great game. I'm going to take the Niners in this one. The Jaguars' offensive line hasn't been great this year, and just that D-line now with Chase and Bosa is just going to go crazy. I think Trevor Lawrence will face a lot of pressure. I'll take the Niners. Browns, Ravens, so a big AFC North matchup between the Ravens and the Browns. I'm going to take the Ravens. They're playing really well. That Browns defense is for real. But I'm going to take the Ravens. They're playing really well. They're running the ball really well. That defense has been great. And the Browns, their offense really isn't that good. Sean Watson has struggled. He's had a lot of injuries. The run game isn't as good as it usually is, obviously, with Nick Chubb out. Kareem Hunt isn't the same play. You have Jerome Ford as your top back, so I'll take the Ravens in that one. They're playing right well. A couple weeks ago, beat the Lions, who are one of the league's best teams. 38-6 or whatever it was. Beat the Seahawks 37-3. They are just rolling right now. At 405, you have Falcons Cardinals. I'm taking the Falcons. Cardinals are good. Looks like Kyler Murray's playing, but he hasn't played in like a year. I expect him to be rusty coming off a major injury. I'm taking the Falcons in that one. Lions, Chargers. I'm taking the Lions. That Chargers defense is not good just because they're going to get 6 points against the Jets. Jets' offense is abysmal. Lions are a great team. I'm taking them. Ace overmatched the Chargers. Giants, Cowboys, Dallas by a lot. Dallas is favored by 16 points. And they might cover that. The Giants defense is very good, but they might have the worst offensive football. Tommy DeVito might be the worst quarterback in the NFL. He's about a 7th round rookie out of God knows where. No offensive line whatsoever. His weapons aren't great. The play call really isn't that good either. That team is atrocious. They are done. They are cooked. You know, their defense is going to get worn out. Dallas is going to pick them apart. I'm taking Dallas. I mean, they beat them 40-0 in week 1. This is going to be ugly once again, I think. 425, we got Commanders, Seahawks. I'm taking Seattle. Seattle's really weird. You know, Geno hasn't played great. They've kind of underperformed. But the Commanders, their defense is horrible. Especially now with Chase Young and Montez Sweat not there anymore. I'll take Seattle now. Commanders are not very good. Sunday Night Football is Jets Raiders. I'm taking the Jets. They looked horrible against the Chargers. But, you know, the Raiders, Max Crosby is going to have has a field day. But, the Raiders defense otherwise isn't good. The Chargers defense isn't good either. But they also have Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack against that just off the line. Hoping, if this is the group they put out again, that they can gel at least a little bit more. I trust the Jets defense. They better win this one. I'm taking my Jets over the Raiders. Don't sold them like this new look Raiders team with the new coach now. And Monday Night Football was Broncos Bills, so the primetime game this week suck. Let's put that out there. Broncos Bills. Taking the Bills. Denver is awful. Not sold on the Bills whatsoever, but the Broncos, they're just absolutely atrocious. I'm taking the Bills. Alright, that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.